Welcome back to the Graybeard Podcast. I am Jim, and I'm excited. I've got one of my friends that came back to see me again, and I can't wait to find out what he's been up to. He took a little break from social medias and doing all the things, and I know he was still busy out there doing things. So everybody say hello to Mr. Nate.
Hello. Yeah, I'm happy to be back, man. It's been like, what, over, I don't know, when was the last time we did our...
It's probably been a year.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah,
it's funny because almost everybody that from a year ago, I'm like having them all strategically having them all back on. Yeah. Well, not recycle, but just see where people are at. Just it's a year is a long time.
Yeah.
in the world of what we do.
Yeah,
and a lot of shit can happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Patrick. He's not. Patrick's not here with us tonight, but he's with us in the chat. So okay, so you took, and I understand fully taking the break. I've done it so many times. I'm kind of like half in, half out right now myself. But what caused the need for the break?
Well, I mean, to me, I've always considered being creative, the whole creative thing is an extremely spiritual thing. Like relying on your spirituality, your emotions, your mentality, everything is heavily dependent on, how creative you can be. At the time, I think, probably the thing that kind of struck it first was just a schedule change, work change. Like I got moved to the night shift, so I was working from, like 3 p.m. or 3 in the afternoon to 10, 11, maybe sometimes midnight at night. And, afternoons, evenings is where I got most of my creative stuff in after work. So that just kind of slowed everything down. And then from there, like, just to take it, straight in deep, social media is tough as a creative. It's so easy to fall into the trap of comparison. And then, if you get too far into it and you don't have the self-awareness to kind of realize that, you're starting to take a negative mentality into most of your creative stuff, like you're going to burn out. And
yeah, they say comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, 100%. So it's just that, and then the combination with the work change, and then, I had some personal stuff going on like everyone does, and, I just decided that, maybe, the shift change was just a sign, and it just made sense to kind of slow stuff down. So I stepped back, reevaluate stuff physically, mentally, and then just be able to kind of come into it with a different mindset. Because, like I said, the comparison took me to a point where being creative became a numbers game. And it became about the likes, the follows, the comments, and the highs and lows that come with, and I posted about this not too long ago on my story. I'm extremely, just to be open and vulnerable from the start, I'm extremely sensitive. I can be super spiritual, super passionate about this stuff, obviously. And yeah, social media can take that and convert it and warp that into something that can, just starve out,
kill your soul,
any kind of passion.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're not careful with it.
Like I said, I fully understand that, and I felt myself really kind of going down that path. I was doing a lot of, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want people to get offended by it, because it's not, I don't mean it negatively, but I was doing a lot of free things for friends, and I love to be creative. I do. And there were times, that towards the end of my, like, whatever, before my hiatus, that they were like, we'll pay you. And I'm like, no, it's not even that anymore. Like, I'm just not happy doing this type of work.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
That's huge. Being able to recognize that is huge.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in the past year, since the last time I've been on here, I would say the biggest improvement I made is just learning when to say no.
Oh, yeah.
Learning how to
I was definitely a yes
down,
man.
Yeah, learning how to turn down jobs despite the money, despite the exposure, despite the opportunity. I mean, don't get me wrong, free work can be extremely beneficial
for sure
in settings where you're getting compensated in some other kind of way.
If you're building a portfolio, like an actual portfolio, I'm not talking about your Instagram account. That was where I fucked up. I used my Instagram as my portfolio instead of actually building like a real portfolio.
Yeah.
And I think, like what you said, the likes and the shares and the comments and all that stuff, it became more about that than the work that I was doing. So I was just taking anything so that I could post something. I was thinking literally about, ooh, this is gonna give me a ton of content.
Yeah.
And it's not cool. I mean, it was destroying my fucking soul.
Yeah.
Now there's people out there that's what they do. You know, like my friend Elliot. I know you know Elliot.
Right.
I mean, he's a marketing, guru, and that's what he does for a job. So I know, like he and I have talked about it before, and we, agree to disagree. But I mean, I get it. It's his job. That's what he does for a living. And if I were to hire someone, then that would just be their job. But I'll never let someone take my accounts and stuff. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to
I
start a
could
fan
never trust that
page
either.
or do something. Let's figure something out as far as like advertising and shit like that. But much like you, I work a shitload of hours. Would I like it to be the other way around, where I'm working less hours and doing photography? Of course.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other photographers that are full-time photographers, and they're like, you just got to fucking step out and do it. And I'm like, well, I've been under this umbrella of getting a paycheck every week, and having insurance, and all the benefits and everything that go along with it. And it's scary to think about. And I've got people that count on me. So if I don't trust myself to hustle enough to get the job done. Is basically what it boils down to.
And I mean, if you think about it, like, this stuff is very, like, income off of this kind of stuff is extremely seasonal.
Oh, yeah.
There's highs and lows. So, like, I've, just this past month alone, I've made more than I've made the 5 months, almost 6 months prior. And it's just, at the snap of a finger, all of a sudden I've got these bookings coming in out of nowhere. You're starting to get into wedding season. You're starting to get into, there's some seniors that are starting to want not grad photos, but senior photos. And then I've been doing some sports stuff. And I mean, stuff just rolls in. And kind of going back to what you said, not letting your Instagram be your portfolio. I finally established my website this year.
Oh, good.
And that was the healthiest thing that you can do as a creative.
I miss mine.
everything prior to having my website was through communications of DMs.
Right.
And social media can be such a mess where you've got people who say they're serious, you don't really know, and then you've got people over here who are trying to be serious, but then they get lost between other messages or just 100%. Miscommunication. But now it's just like, if anyone has any kind of interest, here's my link.
Right.
If you're actually interested, cool, you're going to go. You're
go
to the website, and you're going to book.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, I'm not going to sit here and waste, 10, 15, 20 messages back and forth just to not get an answer.
Yeah, and like when I did have a website, a working website, the thing that people used to get pissed about and they would message me and shit about is like, I didn't have pricing on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to sit down and haggle with you about pricing. The price is what it is. And like I would tell you, this is where we start, and we can go from there. But I don't start for less than this. And generally speak, and I said, this is what this gets you, and they would be like, okay, I'm fine with that. These people would be wanting like, they want to be out there for like 6 hours or whatever and I'm like, no. That $350 start, that's a half hour, ho. Don't get that shit twisted.
Yeah.
But what I learned, and I'm sure you learned this too over the last year, is like, we underprice ourselves. We undervalue ourselves horribly.
Yeah.
Horribly. And I mean, when I started raising the price and just telling people straight up, hey, this is what it is, we can start here and go from there. It's up to you what you want to do. And they either stopped immediately texting me or calling me, or they were. I found that I got better clients because the people that spend $1,000 on a couple hour shoot or whatever it is, they're going to be serious.
Yeah, and they're 10 times easier to deal with than the people that you're, trying to pull $200 out of.
Right.
Like, that comparison is crazy. And that's definitely another thing I learned this year, is just kind of standing on that price point and letting it go either direction. Either they're going to be serious and they're going to take it to the point of haggling, and at that point it's just okay, whatever. Or you've got the clients over on this side that are like, okay, invoice when ready,
Right.
invoice paid, like immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Those are the type of clients that make me smile.
Yeah. I'm immediately saving contact info. I'm saving.
Yeah. We're working
emails,
together again.
And I'm following up, and I'm reaching out, and yeah, that's just.
Well, I mean, and like to your point, I mean, they're not whatever they're there for. You know, It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's their OnlyFans stuff or, or it's a wedding. If they have the money and they're willing to pay the money to do the job, it doesn't matter what the fuck they use the photos for. You're going to do the best job that you can, no matter what the price is. What was the point I was trying to make? I got lost in my thoughts when I said OnlyFans. I don't know who Paul Rodriguez is, but they said the price is what it is.
Oh, that's Mikey. That's my boy Mikey.
Okay, what's up, Mikey?
He is. I shouldn't say new. I don't know how long he's actually been doing it legitimately, but he just got his Instagram established.
Okay.
He got his website in construction, working on invoice, working on contracts.
What's that handle?
I have to look it up.
Oh, okay. No, don't worry, man. I had somebody follow me today. I thought it might have been him.
Yeah, that could be him.
Yeah.
But I mean, while he's on here, a huge shout out to him. He's got his first booking tomorrow.
Nice.
And he's got 2 for the weekend.
Congratulations.
So super excited for him.
Thanks for confusing the hell out of me. Your name's Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Well,
Mikey?
I call him. That's how I met him as Mikey. He introduced himself as Mikey.
I'm just fucking around.
He's actually the most recent engagement photo shoot that I did on my page. That's him and his fiance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I can pull shit up here too.
Yeah, that was a fun shoot. I love that shoot, especially the champagne shots. That was awesome.
Yeah. So have you done weddings?
I just did one this last Saturday,
Dope.
and it was awesome. It was the best wedding I've done. I've only done.
Is it Tack and this one?
No.
No, that's not him.
No, that's not him.
Okay, I thought it might be.
No.
No worries. So you said you did do a wedding?
Yeah, I did one this past Saturday. It's like so I've done 2 weddings. Like I've led 2 weddings in photography, and I've been a second shooter for another one. So 3 weddings total. But this
what
last
do you think
one,
about them?
The first one. Oh, my first one was rough. There wasn't really a set itinerary.
Yeah.
And it was a younger wedding. Like the couple was a younger couple, and don't get me wrong, both the parties were fun. It was an awesome time.
Of course.
Like by the end of the night, I was having a great time.
Yeah.
I got to finally, eventually put the camera down, had a couple drinks, got to eat some food. Like it was a great night. But the organization, like by the time the ceremony was over, both parties were lit.
Yeah.
They were just ready to party. So I'm trying to pull them over here for the pictures, and I've got family behind me coming up, and they're trying to give hugs and congratulate, which, obviously that kind of thing can happen.
Yeah.
But from then on, I learned to, like, as soon as you're booked for a wedding, get straight in contact with the wedding planner and be like, look,
if there is one.
Yeah, I need
9 times out of 10 there isn't.
Yeah, but if there is, I need an hour here, I need an hour here, and then if you can, if it's in the budget, bring a second shooter. Like I had a second shooter. My friend Raw shot you. Shout out to her for helping me out on this last one. But I mean, even when she wasn't actively shooting, the crowd control, the posing help, as a photographer, you can get so locked in on the photo and the composition that you might miss a piece of hair that's looking crazy, or you might miss, some eyes are closed, or someone wasn't looking.
Wrist.
Yeah, stuff like that. And yeah, she was calling that stuff out left and right, which helped me a ton.
Yeah, that's great.
Because it's pretty fast paced. You got to stay up, and then you've got distractions. You've got family coming in for congrats to congratulate, and
I kind of vowed off weddings, but what I learned over the years is that most of the time there's no wedding planner.
Yeah,
and it's really up to you. As the photographer, you run the show.
Yeah, and I was talking. I can't remember who I was talking to specifically. It might have been the wedding planner themselves. But like, if you had to take wedding day and you had to tier, you had to make a tier of the most important people. There's obviously the bride and groom, and then you've got the wedding planner, and then almost immediately it's you, because you're you're determining the pace of the day, and crowd control, organization, communicating with both parties at the right times to stay on track with everything. Even when makeup artists come in, you got to make sure makeup artists are staying up to their timing, making sure they're on time and on point.
What about contracts? Did you fuck with any of that?
Like contractors and sending one over prior?
So like, yeah, like I make every, well, I try to make every client sign a contract, so they understand that these are my photos. I'm licensing them to you, even though it's your special day, but I have to license them to you so you can print them and those things.
Yeah.
But also in the I can send it to you, but I have a contract that's all written out. It's like, making sure there's no cell phone photography while I'm shooting, kind of stuff. Right at number 2, I know it's either 1 or 2. I can't remember. Photography vendor gets fed. I eat.
Oh yeah.
I
absolutely.
eat when they eat. I eat when the bride and groom eat. So when they go up to get their food, I'm I'm the first one behind them. And now the reason I do that is because while they're eating, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And if you don't eat right then, you're fucked.
You're not gonna eat the whole night.
You're not, and it's horrible. And I mean, so I put that in the contract,
which is smart.
Yeah,
I haven't thought about that. I haven't added. I'm gonna have to add that to mine now. I mean, mine's more so like a terms and conditions.
Yeah.
That establishes and lays
the
out
payment.
like the turnaround. The payment when the payment's due.
Which that's all in
the
there.
Percentage
too.
of the deposit.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't gone into the detail as far as like the phone photography and stuff like that, that's another good point, because I definitely had people over my shoulder trying to get their I'm like, do you not see me standing here with my $4,000, $5,000 setup, like
which
setup?
I don't mind that they shoot over me like that, but don't get in front of me.
Or just shift the focus. Like don't be over here while I'm trying to pose them and then have a phone right here and tell them to look at the phone.
Right.
It's like, what are we doing?
Well, and that's why it's really important, I think, to also to meet with your clients prior. So I try to take them to coffee. We'll schedule a day. We'll go do coffee. So a lot of times it'll be like, hey, let's do some light not maternity, Jesus Christ, some light engagement photos. But first let's go sit down and just get to know each other and let's talk. And, once I know you and you understand where I'm coming from and that I'm not fucking around, all right, now we can go and we'll do these engagement shoots just so you can have something to post, because, all the women, all the brides, they're like, I got to post something. I wanted something to post.
Yeah.
So you give them something that they like that they can post within a couple of days. It's like, 4 or 5 shots, whatever, nothing crazy. That's just what I do. The other second part of the wedding thing is the shot list, like you said.
Yeah.
What are the key moments? Like I have a shot list that has a bunch of things on it in order of how they should go. So if you follow the shot list, you'll be able, and you tell them, hey, it's this, it's this, and and their wedding will go a lot smoother too. But the wedding shot, and then there's a spot at the bottom for like things that aren't there. So they can say, well, my great Grammy is in, and she's not doing too well. This may be her last outing, and they'll tell you whatever. And then you make sure these are the bride and groom's wish list. You make sure you get those and communicate them to your second shooter if you have one. But that was just what I did, and I'd carry that list with me and check them off as I went. And she would have one as well, and we'd come together, halfway through and go, all right, what do we got left, kind of thing. Yeah. But and we always had a plan. I was basically like, listen, bride and groom, I'm on them. When they're together, it's me. And
that's the most important part. And along with that, the whole meeting before the wedding. I didn't get to do that on this most recent one,
right?
Just because they came from out of state.
I gotcha. Even a Zoom call.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely important because like throughout the day I felt like it was them and me. I mean, not to take anything away from them. I mean, obviously it's their wedding day.
Right.
But like I was comfortable enough walking up saying, hey, like, I need you guys to come over here with me. And they were cool. Like, oh yeah, we'll listen to you. We'll do this. We'll do that. And I mean, they were an amazing couple to work with. They were probably the most relaxed. If they were nervous, they did not show it at all.
Yeah, younger people usually are.
Yeah, most relaxed. And I mean, the itinerary, I'll just say, started off 2 hours late. Like the equipment company that was supposed to bring the chairs, tables, the curtains, the tabletops, and even the florist, everyone showed up late.
2 hours late.
And which kind of actually ruined my the first look photos, like the original spot that I anticipated, because then all these trucks pulled up and were parked kind of in the area that I was going to do it. So that kind of had me stressing.
You got to be able to pivot.
But I was able to feed off of the, just the lack of nervousness or stress that was coming off of the couple.
Yeah.
And that was extremely helpful.
It's like you almost turn into a journalistic photographer at that point. You're just like, I'm just capturing all the shit that went down.
Yeah.
Because it may be fucked up, and they may not, in the moment, they may not think it's like important. But if you capture some of that stuff, like some of the craziness, and they look back on it and they go, it wasn't the best part of the day, but it was part of the day.
Yeah. And I mean, that's huge too, because I will say, like I said, that kind of disrupted the itinerary of the day and the shot list. And I was stressing, but by the time the reception hit and the party hit, I was able to make up for it in that, because I feel like an advantage coming from me, kind of being younger. And then obviously, I like to feel like I'm pretty personable, and I like to have fun. I like to have a good time. I'm out there on the dance floor in the middle. Like I'm dancing with everyone, but then just happen to be holding my camera up at the same time. Yeah. So I'm getting moments,
blinding everyone
right in the middle of the floor. And by that point, everyone's, had some drinks, everyone's having fun.
Getting loose.
And everyone, this is the funniest thing ever. As soon as anyone gets any kind of alcohol in them, the camera turns into their best friend.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting tapped on the shoulder while I'm facing
Mr.
this way.
Photographer!
Yeah. I need a picture over here. I need a picture. And I'm just like, cool. I'm just swinging the camera everywhere, just snapping. And then
hoping it lands.
Yeah. And you slow, you
do some of that blurry photo action?
Yeah, you slow absolutely. I know
you've been watching.
I know you said you guys weren't a huge fan of that in the last one, but
now when I was I think it was 3 Easy that I was talking to. Now I will say this. We did I don't know if you saw, but we pulled up your Instagram and I showed some of your photos and I said, this is how you do it. Mm-hmm. Like I like this. This is artistic. There's thought behind it. Mm-hmm. But when you're just like, it's the ones that like everybody's freaking out about, like at the weddings where they're like, I want a blurry photo.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I've never done it. I don't want to do it.
I think my favorite thing about doing the blurry photos like that is I'll slow my shutter speed down to depending on if I have flash or whatever the moment is. Let's say I'm doing like 1/6.
Okay.
Like extremely slow. And then as I'm taking the pictures, I'm shaking the camera in my hand and I'm zooming the lens out at the same time, and I'll snap 30 photos, and within that 30 there might be only 1 or 2 pictures that are actually, that I catch an eye in focus, but then everything else is out of focus. And I think that's the funnest part, because you never know what the product's going to be.
If you're doing it in a certain way, like I said, there's a way to do it and it makes it look good. I'm sure I could find some examples of some bad blurry photos that they delivered to clients. I've seen some, like the entire photos it's just completely blurred. Like what you're doing is you're adding in movement, you're adding in motion. That's
Which
different.
Is storytelling.
It's storytelling. Yeah. It's like with there was a car that you shot, and it was in motion, and like you tracked it, and the car was crisp, and the road,
the rollers.
Yeah. So that that is different. But when it's just like, it just looks like an amateur or like a 3-year-old grabbed your camera and just started shooting.
Right. Yeah.
That's not where I'm. That's what I think. That's what we were really referencing, was that type of blurry photo.
Yeah.
But the way you're doing it. And I'm not just blowing smoke because you're here. I mean, you heard us talking about it. I did say that all the ones that you do some creative shit. Like ever since I met you, and I've been following your page, I would, you when you were back in that, I don't want to call it a dorm, but it was, I think you were on base.
I was in barracks, yeah.
Okay, barracks is what the right word is. Mm-hmm. But when you're in the barracks, I mean, you had this like, I don't know how big the room was, like 12 by 12.
Yeah, something like that.
It wasn't large.
Sure, we can call it that big. Yeah.
Maybe 10 by 10.
Yeah.
But you were, with that small space, you got super creative and you made some really cool shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I need to step up my fucking game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not my style, but I still was like, this dude's getting his shit together. Yeah. I mean, it's good. But yeah, I have enjoyed all of your work thus far, and I have noticed a bit of a change if I'm not mistaken, like in kind of like the mood of your photos since you've kind of been back.
I've gone probably through like, I mean, I've been doing photography for like 3.5, maybe close to 4 years now, and I've probably gone through, I don't even know, probably
styles.
Like 6 or 7 different styles. And it's funny because I go back to my page often, and I probably look at my own page more than anyone else, which sounds vain, but I do it just to kind of not compare, but to kind of reminisce and kind of see, you know, the growth in the art.
See where you're at.
Yeah, and I'll go back down to the very bottom, and the noise and some of the grain that was not intentional in some of my photos is like I'm laughing at now. But back then, I remember taking the pictures, and I'd look at them, and I was like, you know, mind blown. I was like, oh my gosh, like these pictures are so clear, so clean.
I don't know, man. It looks like you got quite a few people looking at your page. No, man. Here, let me. Sorry, everybody. We're scrolling through his page. If you're on the YouTubes right now, you could see it. I love this.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was Enrique. He came all the way from Tallahassee, like last minute for a birthday shoot.
Okay.
And he set up that he rented out that Mustang.
Dude, some of these things look like screen caps from movies. They look like
that one's probably my most.
That
photo right there changed my editing style because I think after this photo I will always incorporate grain. Like no matter what it is, like that just the vibe that comes off with the grain. It just I feel like that's storytelling. You know, that just adds another storytelling element.
Well, yeah, for sure. It definitely adds to the photo. And you know, it kind of gives it that filmic look. You know, like I said, that I've always kind of embraced the grain myself. I'm high contrast. You know, I don't generally add grain, but for because that R5,
right.
you know, if it's a darker situation,
it's gonna naturally be there.
Well, you have to pump your ISO up. You know, if you're shooting at like fucking 12,800, you know, it's gonna be there's gonna be some fucking grain in there. No, I love it, dude.
Thanks,
I love
man.
that. Those
That.
very crisp, clean photos. Well, I wonder what he did with those. Are his birthday photos, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder who he sent those to. It's on his Tinder profile. No, man, but yeah, I've like. Let's see. Have you been deleting shit?
No, I mean everything I've ever posted is on my page. The only thing that I delete is like, you know, sometimes you can post on Instagram and there might be a glitch where one photo gets deleted or one photo, you know, pops up glitchy. I can be kind of over analytical with that kind of stuff, but
see, I know this was back in the barracks, right?
No, this is actually at my friend's house. I was house sitting.
But you just found a table and a window.
I don't even think I was sitting on a chair. I think because he just bought the house. I was sleeping on an air mattress. Nice. To house sit for him.
Starving artist.
Just to get out of the barracks because I didn't want to be in the barracks that weekend.
100%.
And I think I'm sitting on. He had this little. I think it was like a pot. It was a huge pot for like a plant, but it was filled with newspapers for like burning to start fires and stuff because he had a fireplace pit in the backyard.
Oh, fire pit.
And so I'm smashing newspapers, like sitting on top of this. And then I took my light and I put it outside the window. So that's not natural light. That's the strobe coming in through the window.
Man, see, and I was wondering about that too because I was like, man, that light is really powerful.
Yeah.
Because like right here, I'm like, dude, you could like your eyes all lit up perfectly. No, that's good, man. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, you're like that dude. And on like you could probably do this on Instagram, like do tutorials, not tutorials, but
I need to step into that.
Do you know
bad.
You know what I'm talking about? Where they're like 5 photography hacks. It'll take your photography to the next level, and they're like it's like old school hacks. You know, it's like taking Saran wrap, putting it over your lens.
That's what I did in that shoot in the barracks room.
Yeah.
To give that like kind of
hazy.
I had Vaseline on the lens.
I hope you didn't put it right.
No. I put Saran wrap around it. I put Saran wrap around it. I rubber banded it like a filter, and then I just took like a little pinky full of Vaseline and So that glare that you're getting in the eyes under the bag, that just came from the Vaseline or it was Aquaphor
that too,
actually.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, no, that was added. So that was photoshopped.
Okay.
That was photoshopped into it.
See, I don't fuck with Photoshop that much.
I don't do it too often anymore, for sure.
But that's cool, man. That was a cool idea.
Yeah.
You know, it's just literally you're like, I got nothing better to do.
Nothing better to do.
Let me just take some weird photos, and they came out awesome.
Yeah, when that creativity strikes too, take full advantage.
Yeah.
Because if you sit on it for too long, it's going to disappear.
Oh yeah.
And like, you know, and then in the times where, you know, I might have an idea pop up and I can't take advantage of it right then and there, I'm going straight to my notes. Okay. I could probably pull it up right now. I think I'm sitting on, let's see, I might just count them real quick if it's not too much. 1, 2, 3. I've got them all numbered, so I just have to scroll to the bottom. 23
ideas.
Just kind of off the top, like if I was at work and had an idea, just typing it, jotting it down really quick, and then trying to pick up on it later.
I do that for, I do that a lot for like, well, I have like crazy brain. So like I'll just be like driving around, or like you said, just working or whatever, and you just have a weird thought and you're like, I need to write this down. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I think it might be funny or whatever. Last week I had a comedian on it, and I told her that I at times fancy myself a comedian. Like I'm not funny at all. That's the problem. But I have these ideas that I think are funny, and I'm like, maybe I can explore that. So I'll type it into my notes. And then I never go back to it, and develop it or any of that bullshit. But anyways, but yeah, for sure, taking the notes. I actually at one point had there was a guy that I befriended, and unbeknownst to him, he was like a mentor to me. I'll see if in a second, I'll see if I can find his Instagram page, but his handle is Blue Strobe Photo. Okay. And I started chatting with him, and he was giving me like advice and all this other shit. And he's been shooting for fucking ever, and he's just like, he's like, you need to get a sketch pad and draw out your ideas.
I don't know if I could do that.
Well, he goes, even if it's not good, even if it's just a fucking stick figure, and I was like, okay. And he showed me some of his sketches, and they were horrible. Yeah. But then he showed me the work. Like when he actually so he had this idea, and he was like, all right, this is the idea, this is the end product. And I was like, okay, I got you. Okay. It's just something to like go, this is what I want, this is where I want, like he worked with a lot of female models. So it was like, I want her hand here. I want, her hair to be flipped like this. And he would find people that fit that image in his brain, and one of the things he told me, and I'll never forget it, it was, and I tell this to people still to this day. I tell people that are like getting into photography, or, I guess they're like developing their techniques to learn all the basics. Yeah. Learn all the rules, learn all the basics, learn all the rules.
And then learn your camera and your gear.
And then throw that shit in the garbage and do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than knowing the camera stuff, knowing the tech, knowing the capability of your camera, because I have a lot of people come to me asking me what camera I have, and then they figure out the price point. They're like, oh, I can't afford that. Like, there's no way. And I'm like, well, don't worry about that then. I'm kind of biased, or I was kind of, I guess, spoiled in my start, because the camera I have now is the camera I bought, and that's what I learned on, which is the Sony A7 III. Yeah. So I didn't really start out with like a beginner package camera. I kind of started out, with a pro camera, mid to maybe even high tier.
A7 III is pro camera.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I had people coming to me asking me, and then I would tell them like, oh, there's no way. I was like, that's fine. Whatever you have, it's important to know the ins and outs and the full capability of that camera before you worry about upgrading. This is a
DSLR. This was the second camera I bought when I started getting back into photography. And, because I started shooting when I was like 18, and I was all film. Okay. And then I quit for a while. And then when I came back, it was all fucking digital. Of course, you could still buy film, but everybody was shooting digital. So I was like, oh. So I bought a digital camera, and it was kind of boof, and then I upgraded to this. But I got this on fucking Marketplace for like $300. The girl didn't know. It was at the time it was worth maybe $6, but the girl was just like, I don't care. I'm my boyfriend. Da 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 da.
Oh, okay, yeah. One of those.
Yeah. She was clearing out all his shit. And she was just selling all his shit. I was like, okay.
And the girl did that to me.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
MDK.
Murder, death, kill. But yeah, I mean, but it's maybe 9 megapixels. You know, your cell phone has better. You know, but some of the photos I took on that, and I'll still rock it sometimes.
Yeah.
And but the grain is so perfect. You know, it's like it's almost like a film camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit slower. I mean, like your camera is like the sister camera to that.
Okay.
The A7 III.
Okay.
I think it is.
I don't really know anything about. I'm kind of biased in the camera brands too.
As
like
far
I said,
as
that's the only camera
as
I've
far
ever
as
had.
Sony and Canon, I think those two are competing with each other.
Oh yeah,
they're on the
absolutely.
same level.
If you say Nikon, get out of the room. Sorry.
No. We don't use potatoes here, but yeah, but yeah, like that thing, I can get like I think it's like what 30 frames a second or some shit like that. It's some ridiculous amount, but you start realizing quickly that you don't fucking need that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're
and that's
doing
what I'm saying
yeah.
for the people that come and ask me, like, yeah, this is what I have, but you don't need that to start at all. I mean, you can get, I don't know what the one that I hear a lot, like as far as beginner cameras, the T7 Rebel or whatever that one is.
Rebel, they have a T6i or a T7i. I think
Yes,
T7i I think is the newest. They might be even up to 9 by now, but
yeah,
those are like.
It's like a kit camera for like $600, $700, maybe $800. I mean, I don't
Correct.
know exactly what it is.
Correct. It is a kit camera. It is a basic beginner camera, and it's basically what they use in schools right now. Like if you don't have a camera, they'll supply you with one.
Yeah, like
See,
for
like
broadcasting class or whatever, newspaper
or photography class. They
Yeah.
some schools still have photography class. Like when I was doing photography class in high school, we got a Pentax K1000. It was a film camera. It was like a I have a Canon AE1. It's a film camera. It's similar. It's like that hard gray body, all metal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sturdy ass cameras, but at any rate, the T6, this is probably like maybe a few steps up from the T6i.
Okay.
This is a 60D. But
did you see that the birthday shoot that I did most recently? I was in the suit with a gold tie.
Is it on here?
Yeah, it should be.
I probably did.
Right. Yeah, right there.
Boom. Look at that.
Now, if you scroll to the next photo, you see all those cameras sitting on the...
Uh-huh.
I have like, I don't know,
20
to 25 cameras that I got from an estate sale.
Oh,
It was in
cool.
a plastic tub, and I bought the entire tub for like $25. And I bought them originally just thinking it'd be cool to collect, and then I ended up using as props in this photo shoot. And then, but ever since then, I've started to see kind of a revamp or a shift change, a trend change. Like everyone's trying to get back to film.
Oh yeah.
Just because of the aesthetic that it can produce, as well as like just the culture surrounding film cameras, like trying to take it back. Take it back old school.
If you're like a beginner and you want to really learn like how to like all the
negatives, the dark room,
all of that stuff,
yeah.
because it is a process. My friend Barry, I don't know if you follow Barry Michler.
Is it Michler or Michler?
Michler.
Okay.
I think it's, I'm pretty sure it's Michler. Because I think I was saying Michler.
I probably mispronounced so many Instagram names just because that's the only thing that I've never met anyone in person.
Same, dude. And when people pop up in here, I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Like, especially my last name. My last name is like Sauer, like I get that all the
I
time.
say
it's like
Sauer.
Sure, whatever. I mean, it is Sauer.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that's
what it looks like.
Pronunciation
Sauer. I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's classically. I mean, he shoots on digital. I think he's got a Fuji something or other. It's a cool looking camera. I like the sound it makes. I know it's digital, but it sounds so just that.
Yeah.
But he also has a bunch of film cameras. He shot some with me on a camera that was 3D printed. Like it was a 3D.
He printed it himself?
No, he bought it.
Oh, okay.
Somebody 3D printed it. He bought it, but then he had to like put it all together. It's a film camera, so he had to put together it didn't come with like a trigger. So he had to buy the old school,
like the one
plungers.
It's like on a cable. And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
complete, like if I were to take this cable and then at the end of it had the trigger.
Exactly.
And then what about the like the old school ones, super super old school, where they had to put the curtain
Oh.
over them. Like they get under the curtain and
Yeah.
they pull out the trigger
I
like
think
way
those,
over
those
here.
are like the 5x4s or whatever with
Yeah.
with the fucking the powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. I mean, and yes, people are getting more into those, like, you know, just going back to that just to see, because for so long now since we've had digital, we've been like basically just emulating that look. And there's people going, you know, all these little hipsters. They're like, let's go, man. Let's go get that 5x4 camera where you got to put your head under the thing and you got these giant slates you drop in. I mean, you know, but it does give a cool look.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting story. You know, I know
Yeah.
that I can't remember what the fuck it's called, but it's this dude literally takes pictures on a slate, and then I don't know how he transfers them, but it's a whole fucking ass process. But he does, and he'll set it up where it's like one photo per session, because it takes that long to take the photo, because you basically you put the slate in and then you pull the thing off and it's like hold fucking still, and the people have to literally hold still for like fucking I don't know how long, 30 minutes, and then he puts the thing back in front of it and then he has to take it and then he'll start developing it. And it's I want to say it's like silver nitrate or something, like it's some weird chemicals.
Yeah.
It's not like the normal film chemicals. I guarantee you if I asked Barry right now, he'd be able to tell me what the fuck, because he's a old school film.
I might have to hit him up then, because like
Definitely.
I said, I mean, that's getting back to that is kind of like a huge interest, like kind of a next step for me. Like aside from just getting back to that aesthetic, I just want to learn it for the sake of like, you know, the culture that comes with it.
Yeah.
And the pride, or you know, the respect that you kind of develop for the craft and for the art. I think that's.
This is his page. These are all. I think these are mostly film. I don't.
Is that him right there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't.
I was about to say it looks a little bit.
I'm not sure if he has any pictures. Hey, look, collab. That was done on digital.
I think I might have actually seen. Did he take pictures for?
There he is.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know who he is.
You can't. Yeah, he's not a very photogenic type of guy. That's him right there.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, if I go to my page, I think I might have posted some shit. He and I went out for a photo walk.
Oh, okay.
And go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Oh, my bad. No, I guess I didn't post anything. Damn it, man. I'm horrible. I haven't posted anything. This is the last thing I posted was from the JFE.
Yeah, man, my posting has slowed down a lot too. Doesn't mean the work's slowing down.
No.
Believe that.
No, for sure.
Believe that.
And that's the thing, is just like, it's a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
Am I a photographer or am I a content creator? Do I have to do both? Because, you know, word of mouth and the jobs are still coming in slowly, but it's coming in at a good pace for me because I work so much. I'm working like almost 60 hours a week. I don't really have a whole fuckload of time to like devote to that. So it's like one day a week, maybe. You know, if it's a quick session, I might be able to bang one out in the afternoon. But it's just like, for me, it's like, okay, that's cool. And then do I need to spend time making reels and going on CapCut, doing all this stuff? You know, is it something that I guess the question is it something that we care about?
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on what your mission is, or like, you know, what your ultimate goal is. I mean, I know for me, like, I hate the idea of, you know, being defined as a content creator. I don't want to be, or just defined as a photographer. And influencer can kind of have some like some teeter-tottering as far as like what that means.
That's kind of creepy. I don't like the term influencer.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, I want to get to a point, which is kind of where I find myself now, at a plateau. Like, my work is my work. I feel like it can be identified at this point. Like my style is established, my portfolio is established, my network is established.
Yeah.
But I plateaued in that. So I think the next step for me is kind of what we were talking about earlier, like tips and tricks, and starting to convert my work from just being cool and creative to impactful and, you know, providing value to, you know, the people that follow me.
I guess that's the thing, right? I mean, it's like, what are your goals? Do I just want to be a photographer? Do I just want people to like all my photos? Do I want to see 100,000 likes on my photos? I mean, that's cool, I guess. You know, you get that serotonin boost, but like, what what am I doing? What am I actually doing? Am I
Yeah.
providing a service? Because which is again why I don't post that much on my page, because I got a lot of the work I've been doing is like family stuff, portrait stuff. It's not really the where I want to go.
Right.
It's not, so if I post all this stuff, am I just going to get more and more of this shit, so I'm just like,
that's another thing too with making your Instagram your portfolio is like you have to kind of be careful which direction you want to end up going in, because if you start posting stuff that's, within a certain market, you're going to restrict yourself from other opportunities.
Yeah, you pigeonhole yourself.
So just being strategic with your layout and with your, Instagram, which is more so why I established the website. Because if you go to my website, I've got
it's organized
10 times, and I've got 10 times more work on there, like not in numbers wise, but you just see that the diversity in my portfolio, as well as some video stuff.
And you can see it full screen,
and
in high def, not like fucking the muddled up bullshit that Instagram does to us, right?
Yeah, I wonder if that'll ever get to a point where, it's just
no.
I don't know, like I don't.
Which is another.
You would think with all the advances in technology, it's got to be around the corner, don't you think?
I suppose, but I guess it's like a server problem. Maybe there's so many people posting.
That's probably true.
Maybe they can't handle all that, so they have to dumb it down a little bit.
I don't know how all that works. So.
But it's kind of one of the reasons why I've been posting more on, or interacting more on X. When I post something on X, it looks the way it should look. There's no borders, there's no compression. It just the whatever I post, it goes up. And I also like it because there's not a lot of fucking censorship.
Okay.
So if I do take a photo that I really enjoy, and it just happens to be, implied nude or a full nude or whatever the fuck it is.
Or has a gun in it.
Or has a gun in it, or there's blood in the picture, or
even if it's fake. Yeah.
Even if it's fake. I do follow some goth chicks on X. And there's a lot of blood, a lot of blood play action going on, which I've never been a fan of really, but some of them, make it quite attractive. But you also know it's fake blood. You hope it's fake blood.
Right.
But at any rate, there's not a lot of censorship, and that's kind of something I wanted to talk to you about. I've been wanting to talk to more creators about this type of stuff, more photographers, more content creators, whatever. So I've got a few of those people kind of lined up behind you here. So, some more content, not tonight, but, more content creators, more OnlyFans models. My audience will thank me for that. They're a bunch of meatheads. I say that in the most loving way, but yeah, it's the censorship thing. I don't know if you have had any run-in with that or any issues with censorship, whether it be through shadow banning or whatever the fuck it was.
I think I've been shadow banned it was a long time ago. I haven't recently been shadow banned for anything, but it was maybe 2 or 3 times before. And at the time, I didn't know what shadow ban meant until I saw that I was posting a story, and in 24 hours,
nothing.
10, 15 people looked at it. I'm like, what's going on? And I kind of looked into it. That's when I discovered what it meant. And I never really learned what it was specifically for, what I triggered, what I, what the thing, the flag, what flag did. But it's a tough topic because, I believe in censorship of certain things, obviously, especially for younger generations and the access that they have to social media. It's necessary and it's apparent. But I think whenever it's influenced by power, that's when it becomes an issue. When it becomes selective censorship and it's not even and all out across the board. I'm going to get censored before someone with 2.1, 2.2 million, whatever, however many followers
100%.
has. So that kind of is where, you start to get into the debate of whether it's right or wrong. But yeah,
well, that's what you just said is exactly how I feel. I that actual episode with 3Easy when we were talking about
that.
It got not even 5 minutes after we finished the live. I got a notification from YouTube.
Did he tell you what it was for?
No. It said misinformation.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about some stuff, and I'll tell you about it later, which is oh, it's so fucking frustrating. I can't even talk about certain things. Like,
Yeah.
you can't talk about certain things. Like the period between 2020 and 2023. You can't talk about that event that happened in those times. You know, because if you do, you get a community guideline strike and or your video pulled down, which for me, it's very important for me to not let that happen, because you drove all the way over here. You're spending the time to sit down and talk with me, so that, and we're filming it and streaming it live so that they can watch, and or anyone can watch. And, you know, of course the audio goes out and it's, you know, out there for people to listen to. But it just sucks that you know, whenever somebody does that and then like YouTube decides you can't talk about that.
Yeah.
But there are other platforms, like you said, that have billions of followers.
Yeah.
And
it becomes picky choosy at that point.
it really does. I mean, it's like, well, they're bringing in revenue for us.
Whatever.
You're not bringing us any revenue right now. So we're going to, you know, we can't have you saying these things.
Yeah.
And I always preface it with, I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I don't know anything about this shit. I'm just telling you what I feel. You know, or I'm talking about a video that I saw that has a professional in it. You know, but they didn't like that.
And that's going to become more and more apparent as, like, because now more than ever, which, I mean, I'm happy for them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want to be one of the people making money off of social media. Yeah. That are staying at home. They're doing what they want. Like, if I could get paid to be creative and put out my photos, I wouldn't need to do anything else.
No.
You wouldn't even have to pay me that much. Just
you
let
would
me
become
live.
a full-time content creator.
Yeah, right. But the unfortunate part of that is once you bring money into the picture with anything, it's going to become complicated like that.
Yeah.
So, and more so now, like, it's an election year. So on top of that, obviously some shit's going to be censored a little bit more than it would in other years or other time periods.
True. But that is, again, that's why I spend most of my days, if I'm on social media at all, I give myself this window. Like, I allot myself a certain amount of time per day to be on Facebook, and I feel like Facebook, it's not as toxic, you know. It's gotten back to like where it's just like your friends and your family, you know, kind of shit. Like you only, of course, you only. This is the weird part. Like I think I follow, or, you know, 300 people, or maybe that's all it is. I don't know. There might be more, but I only see like 3. I only see 3 people in my feed constantly. So that's one of the fucking stupid algorithms that I can't stand.
Yeah. And I've been trying to, I mean, I don't know who's noticed or whatever, but just like one of my personal objectives, you know, once I took my break and came back, is to start to be selective with what I'm seeing on my timeline. Right. Cause like you can go jump down the loophole of social media and you can end up on pages that you shouldn't be on. Like, you know, and it's so easy because it just takes 1, 2, 3 taps. All of a sudden you're in the middle of this page.
Before you know it, you're broke.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And then, you know, it's just like with that, you know, it's just hard too, because Facebook and Instagram it's so easy to get to the point where even if you're accidentally interacting with someone 2 or 3 times in one day, it's like automatically they're going to take that as a sign. Boom, that's all you see. Right. And so what I was saying a little bit about earlier, since I took my break and came back, I've started to kind of clean up and try and clean up my timeline. And, you know, if I don't...
Has it helped?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's allowed me to not be distracted by social media.
So you're like curating your feed?
Yeah, and if I get on social media and the people that I interact with on social media, if you don't directly have a personal relationship with me, if you don't inspire me, if you aren't providing me any values to like learning or, you know, anything like that, I don't follow them. Like I work with a lot of people, my network's broad, and, you know, I would like to take this opportunity to anyone out there who may feel like, you know, they take that on a personal level. It's not personal. Yeah. It's not, you know, and that's what I hate about social media is it's all about, you know, the numbers. And if I follow you, you don't follow me back, oh, you're stuck up. Or
follow for a follow.
Right, right. And it's not that. It's just I'm trying to keep my feed within certain parameters so that I cannot fall back into that
for your mental health.
Yeah. So I cannot fall back into that negative loophole.
No, I fully get that. I really do. Yeah, man, that that shit is whack, dude. Like it just is. But that's why I do the whole pump and dump thing. That's probably not the right term. That's a different thing. I post and ghost. Let's just say that. I post and then I bounce. If I have something I need to post, I do it and I get the fuck out. But what they're doing now, which is sneaky, they know people are doing that. Yeah. So now I think the algorithm is more on engagement inside the comment section. Oh, yeah. So like if somebody comments, they want you engaging back immediately.
Yeah. And you can't just like or, reply with an emoji. You need to respond with like words. 4 to 5 words at the minimum. Or, or ask with they see a question mark. If they see a question mark in a comment, they're gonna push that because that's the head starter to a conversation, which is gonna create more engagement.
It's very fucking maddening, dude.
So it's crazy if it's not even a question, but you just throw a question mark on the end of it. And I saw this in a recent podcaster. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about social media and the algorithm and stuff. And it's funny because this guy did I think it was like a 2 or 3 week study or whatever, where he just tracked his analytics after he decided to post comments on pages that weren't questions, but he just added the question mark to them. And it was insane, the analytics that came up, because it's just like, they want opinions to come onto social media, right. And opinions come from asking questions. So,
well, I don't know if you've heard me talk about it before or if you've watched it, but there's a documentary out there, and I highly recommend this to all of my viewers and listeners. But I know people are probably going to slap their radio or whatever they're listening to. But I mean, I've said this more than once. But like the documentary is called The Social Dilemma.
I've seen that too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is insane, and that person.
It's scary.
It is very scary.
Yeah.
I guess that person that like put it all together. He used to work at Google.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more than just that out there now. There's another one I can't remember what it's called, but those fucking documentaries scare the balls off of me, because it's like when people start realizing that what you post is not the product.
Yeah.
We're the fucking product.
Yeah.
We are the product. And getting us to engage, getting us to follow their little algorithms and shit, and they have to keep it fresh. Otherwise, I don't know, somebody that has a low count might become insta famous out of nowhere, and they don't want that. They want people that work for it.
Yeah.
And and I get that, I guess, but like, at what cost? My mental status is way more important to me than a fucking like. I've talked about this too. I've thought about turning all the likes and comments off on my posts.
Yeah, just to get it. I've definitely had that same contemplation before.
But you don't. The problem with that is, and I mean, I don't really know if this is true, but like, say you get to a certain level and you can see, the level you're at, with engagement and all that stuff when you look at your analytics. Mm-hmm. But like, if you get like a sponsor or somebody that wants to sponsor you or something like that, I don't know if that correlates when you turn all that shit off, if they can't see it or if you can't share that information. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Well, I think more so if you turn likes and comments off, it kind of makes you more susceptible to kind of not being hacked, but being replicated. Like someone can take your profile pic and take all your posts.
I mean, they could do that anyway.
And go post on a separate page, buy that exact amount of followers or something close, and then just go follow a random amount of people to match the people that you're following.
Right.
And then repost all your stuff, but then turn likes and comments off.
I feel like that can happen anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. Like I said, I've talked to a number of content creators. We'll just call them that. But and like the problem they're having is that where they're posting, on OF, you basically sign a contract with them saying that once you post up there, your content is no longer yours. They now own it, and they can do whatever the fuck they want to with it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these girls and guys, I'm sure there's, and everything in between. Sorry, but I'm sure that they're finding their stuff, and I actually know of a few that have found their stuff on like other websites, like Pornhub or wherever. They're making money off of that, and they're posting it, like they have permission, but there's no checks and balances on those things. So there's no copyrights with those things, and you can post it all fucking day long. And most of these girls do post at the bottom of their bio, it'll say like, all content on this page is mine, and if you take it, it doesn't matter. You can post whatever the fuck you want to. You can say whatever you want to. They're still going to use your shit.
Yeah.
And my only advice I had for them was post it over there first.
And that translates straight into like what we do in photography. Like aside from that community, just basic photography.
Yeah.
And I've seen
ownership rights.
I've seen it happen to not younger guys, but just smaller accounts where they take a prime picture, like some crazy picture of some crazy moment that could completely change and alter their career and just their outreach and their exposure. But then you've got, say it's for Nike or say it's for the NFL or say it's for this or that. Those larger corporations just take it.
Oh yeah.
Nothing. And there's nothing you can really do about it, because once it's on Instagram, like you were saying, once it's on a platform, it can go to anyone.
Yeah.
It can be taken from anyone.
Now the only thing is with the metadata, I don't know if you know about metadata, but every photo we take on any camera, even on your phone, there's metadata that goes with that photo.
Right.
And even if they screenshot that photo, the technology has gotten so good now that metadata still goes with that screenshot. So if you see your photo on another website and you didn't post it there, you can damn sure sue the fuck out of them for rights, for copyright infringement, unless you've signed a contract, that says I no longer own this shit. And a lot of people don't read the fine print, that user agreement or whatever that you fucking scroll through really fast to get to the yes, I accept. And even if you don't accept it, the only other option is to just opt out and not be on that site, because there's no other options.
Right.
You have to either accept it or deny it, and if you deny it, you just gotta go find somewhere else to go.
Push to the back, wherever.
Yeah. So okay, so we know we took a mental break, like a mental health break. We'll say that, not a mental break. That's me. And I say you, not we, you. And you're back. What are your goals for the upcoming year?
I think kind of going to what I mentioned earlier. Feel like I've kind of plateaued. And just to be vulnerable for a second, in recent events or just, recent photo shoots and kind of some stuff that you kind of hear within the community, there's stuff out there that you hear as a creative, and, obviously I've had my highs and lows, and it's hard to go from those highs and sit in the lows and then go back and look at your work and kind of not compare, not feel like you've fallen off or like you're kind of out of the loop. And so I would say a big goal is just to not fall into that trap. That's just like a spiritual goal.
On that vein, we spoke when you got here earlier about that comparison, and we spoke about that a little bit when we first started. What do you? I mean, do you know? Is it just like a general comparison, or is there like specific like creators that you're comparing yourself to, or?
They're definitely specific. Not specific enough for me to like know by name or anything like that. But it's like, it's more so just seeing the opportunity that some people are getting, and everyone sees the product, but no one sees the work that gets put into the product. So a lot of that behind the scenes, work doesn't necessarily get credited all the time. So like not anyone specific, but the people out there who are doing stuff that you feel like you're capable of and that you maybe have done before, but then the light is just brighter on them than you. And that's not to be spiteful. That's not to like I said, comparison can be an evil thing.
It is.
It can be it can destroy any passion that you have. But that's what social media can do if you're not using it appropriately, if you don't have a healthy relationship
100%.
with it. So.
What about, I mean, is it giving you that that imposter syndrome?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then it gets to the point where, the imposter syndrome eventually turns into like, and I don't know what to call it. I've talked about it with multiple creators. It's like there's the anticipation that happens before a photo shoot that leading up to the photo shoot, like anxiety or nervousness or anxiousness will get so much, like so big and so heavy that like I'll be so close to like just putting my hands up and canceling. Like, hey, yeah, let's reschedule. Like I don't want to do it anymore. And I think a lot of that just comes from the pressure that I put on myself, and then the people that I've seen do it. Like, oh, I don't know if I can do it like him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it like that, or I don't know if I can make my photo look like this. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I'm confident in my abilities or my knowledge. And yeah, it's just like it's just, and it's right on the wire of making the decision. It's the hour before the photo shoot. It's the it's the post. It's the hour post the photo shoot when you finally get in to look at the raw photos, and it's like, man, yeah. But then you get into the photos and you're like, man, it's like now I don't really know what to, editing wise, style wise. Like now, what do I need to make happen on the post production side?
What when you get that feeling where you're like that anxiety and all that sweaty palms and shit, and you're like, I don't know if I should go do this shoot. What is it that pushes you to do it?
Like I said earlier, I revisit my page. I revisit my page a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think there's a comment on my page that I haven't read or I haven't seen, you're wrong. Like
that's bad.
I mean, but
I'm gonna tell you right
read
now, that's bad.
That's not. I mean, but I don't say that in like. I mean, obviously it's selective, right?
Sure.
I mean, I'll see every compliment, but I mean the negative ones or whatever. I mean, I really have never gotten a negative comment. Yeah. But if it is, I feel like I'm confident enough that I can just brush it off. That's whatever. But I'm talking about the supportive stuff.
Right.
You go back and see the people showing love on the work that you've done before.
Yeah.
That's the trigger that I need to be like, okay, well, and that's not to say that I'm doing that next photo shoot to try and see what comments I can get next.
Right.
But it's just a reminder that, you are capable.
I did this.
Yeah, you are capable. You do have the skill. You do have people that love your work. And then that leads directly into you take that jump and you do that photo shoot, and that's just another story to add to the book. Like I posted on my story, and like I said earlier, I can be kind of sensitive. I can be kind of emotional. I'm super passionate, so a lot of times I'll reminisce, and I'll throw a post on my story that's kind of a rant, and might be personal in a way.
It's okay.
Every photo shoot to me is a story, and like if I do this, say I do photography for the next 30 years, and I have a portfolio and I have a page, each post that I have, I'm going to be able to go back and kind of play that memory. I'm going to go back and, remember that conversation that I had with the model or whoever behind the camera, prior to the photo shoot, after the photo shoot, the connection that I made, something funny that happened on the photo shoot, something, kind of scary that happened on the photo, like whatever happened. It's just, there's a story surrounding the setup and the execution and even the post-production of a photo shoot. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about, that's behind all the digital world of photography.
You ever think about starting a blog?
I do. But, kind of going back in, I like to write. I feel like I'm a good writer. But I feel like my mind's too fast. I can't type or write enough to keep up with my mind. And then by the time I do get something out on paper, or I do get something out in a document, I'll go reevaluate those couple sentences, and I'll spend 30 minutes trying to word swap to make it sound, oh no, it'll sound better this way, or it'll sound better that way. But just journaling, writing with the intent to not necessarily put it out as a published, document or anything like that. That's where journaling and stuff like that could come in huge, where you're just writing to clear your head. You're just even if it looks like you just threw up on the paper, like just get it out of your head.
That's the one thing when I kick myself in the ass for letting money get in the way of me having a really professional website. I loved my first website. It was like the best thing I ever made. I mean, other than my kids. But it was perfect. It had everything I needed, and it looked professional. It and I had my blog, and I not only did the podcast, but I would do the blog. And it was like most of the time, whatever I wrote about, I would come into the studio and I would talk about. Okay. Before I was doing the interviews, it was just me doing the podcast by myself, and it would kind of like give me fuel for the the podcast. Like I was like, oh, it gets my juices flowing. It makes me more creative and everything like that. And I spoke better. I think now with this free form thing, I do trip up on words, but it's not. People kind of give you a little grace when because they're like, oh, it's live.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I sometimes I suck at tripping up on words too. Like I said, my mind just moves 10 times faster than my mouth does.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and stutter, and then afterwards I'm like, damn, I really sound like an idiot. But that's just part of it, really. We were talking a little earlier, and you were kind of like looking around here, and we were talking about all this stuff, and I had asked you if you had thought about doing a podcast, and you want to talk about that a little bit, or yeah,
or is that like one of them keep it under wraps until it happens?
No, not at all. So I mean, for me, like, whether this podcast gets 5 views or 5 million views, I didn't really come out here for the exposure. I didn't come out here for the finished product. I kind of came out here because it gives me the opportunity to voice some creative conversation 100%. That I don't get to have a lot of the times. Because if I'm being completely honest, I spend probably 80% of my time, maybe I'll knock it down to 70 so it doesn't sound so sad, all right? But I spend probably 70% of my time kind of doing things like with me solo, which is not an issue. Like, I'm cool, I'm confident, I'm comfortable doing things on my own. But you just kind of get to a point where you're having all these conversations in your head that never, are voiced and turn to fruition, like
make you crazy,
that,
man.
that initiate anything.
Well, I mean, if we didn't learn anything from that time period between 2020 and 2023 is that people need people.
Absolutely.
And like when we were all locked up in the house, I was essential, just as you probably were as well.
Well, I was in the middle of boot camp.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you had people around you.
Right.
Granted, it's a different type of situation, different environment, but we need people. We need people to talk to. We need people to touch and hang out with and socialize with.
Yeah.
And I am not a social being. I'm not a social butterfly. I'm very introverted. But it was like if I was like begging, please let me close this job down so I could sit at home for 2 weeks and not do it. Turned into like a year and a half. But I was like begging for that because I was like, that sounds like fucking paradise to me, just to be alone.
Yeah.
But even me, we do need a kinship. We need, it's kind of one of the reasons that like I wanted to do that photo walk with Barry, and we plan on doing more of those, and we want more people to come.
Yeah.
Whether it's it doesn't matter, your gender or what fucking camera you shoot on. I don't care if it's
what kind of photography
or what photography you do or anything.
Like that.
It's really what I got out of that day was more the fellowship.
Yeah.
Did we get some cool photos? Of course we did. I got a couple. He got some more than that, but it was really like he was going through stuff that he had. People listened to him, but he didn't have anybody that he felt like he could really talk to.
Yeah.
And same with me. And I was like happy to listen. Because I know even if you have a significant other. And this may be a very man thing. It could just be a man thing. I don't know. I'm sure the ladies, and you guys can chime in if you want to. I grew up around women my whole life, and they tend to like talk together, and they'll express themselves together. But every man I've ever met in my entire life, like, never talked about shit. They didn't talk about their feelings. They didn't even I spent a lot of time with like my granddad. If he got hurt, we lived on a farm with my granddad for a few years. If he got hurt out on the farm or something, you wouldn't even know it. He'd just take his old handkerchief out and wrap it around his hand and just keep on trucking.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't because, well, I'm a man's man. That wasn't the reason. He's just like, I got work to do. I got shit I got to get done. Like, this farm's not going to tend to itself. I need to get these things so I can feed these people. And, that's how we kind of think. It's all about the work and about providing either for yourself or for others, and just creating something for yourself and being productive. That's, for some reason, that's where our brains go. And everything else is tertiary, or it's secondary. It doesn't matter as much. But I'm here to tell you, it does fucking matter, and you do need some people that you can, like a group of people or a person, or and honestly, I mean, like I said, you could, if you have a significant other, could you talk to her? Sure. I have my own thoughts and feelings about certain things like that. I mean, my partner, I speak to her all the time, but when I spent that time with Barry, or when I spend time with anybody in a different type of setting, I'm not like dating them, they're friends, and we are both sharing. It just seems to be more effective. I don't know if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a fucking therapy group. You know what I'm saying? And it really was therapy that day. We both.
I like that a lot. Yeah. That's awesome.
So next time we do it, maybe you'll come out and hang out with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't say that's kind of always been an idea. I think it'd be cool to throw an event like that or get something together like that. I think I attempted to like a while back.
It's hard.
It is hard.
No matter how many followers you have.
Yeah, it's just lining up everyone's calendars and trying to get it to match up is hard. But I mean,
well, you just got to pick a day. You just got to pick a day and say, this is the day. If you want to show up, show up. And that's what we did. He and I decided together, all right, look, we're going to go out on Sunday. Dope. Most people have Sundays off. I say most people, but that was the day we both decided to go, and we posted about it. I made a little video about it. And we had like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people tapping in, and they were like, yo, I want to come. And I'm like, all right, come on. This is the location right here. And, he and I were the only 2 that showed up.
Yeah.
But I wasn't discouraged by it. I was like, we just started talking. But it was interesting to see the mood in the beginning from then until the end. Because in the mood in the beginning was just very, almost kind of somber. You know what I mean? Because like I said, he had just gone through a lot of heavy stuff, and
there's this slight letdown of kind of knowing.
Well, it was just like he kind of walked into it like, what's up, man? Kind of like I could tell something was wrong.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, we had talked so much, and we had spent so much time snapping photos and being creative, which is really where our passion is.
Right.
That. When we were leaving, man, it was hugs and smiles and all right, man, I'll see you next time. And so it was like I said, it was a really good therapy for the both of us.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. I guess to kind of go along with that, if I did have a goal, I don't know if I wanted to kind of put it out here or not.
Okay.
But I wanted to do, I don't have like a locked in name for it, but to kind of correlate or relate to this, it's a similar event to what you guys did with the photo walk. But I'm thinking about calling it like a cameras down cookout.
Oh, cool.
Like, and I want everyone, who works creatively with camera, either whether you're in front of it or behind of it. So photographers, videographers, models, script writer, like just anything and everything around production. I want everyone to be able to put that down and meet at a place.
Damn, you know how hard that's going to be?
Some music, like whatever it might be. I mean, however hard it is, I want to be able to provide this space to kind of, because going back to what I said earlier, like as much as you may be able to recognize it or not, like being creative is a very spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Like if your mind isn't in the right space, like it's very hard to try and pull ideas from a mind that's focused on other things or in a negative place. And the word you said is the fellowship. People coming together who have common interest is such a powerful thing.
It is.
Because I'm sure you guys, you might have showed up somber, but then eventually you got into the swing of things. You guys picked up momentum, and you probably didn't even realize the moment that you were in because everything else just drops. Everything else just fades away.
Yeah.
And being able to provide that, being able to experience that on a regular basis is so crucial to mental health.
Yeah, we didn't even realize like how many hours we were out there. Like, I got out there a little bit before he did, and we wanted to shoot the sunrise, in Green Cove. That's where we were.
Okay.
And so I got out there a little early. I started taking pictures of my motorcycle, and just as the sun came up, and then he showed up, and I was like, but yeah, from sunrise until I think it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like that's a long day.
Yeah.
That's like a work day. And we ended by going, there's a place in Green Cove, it's called like Sunset Diner or something like that. It's just a little diner, mom and pop place. You know, we went in there and ate some breakfast, and then we were like, all right, let's go shoot a little bit more, and then we split.
That's
That
awesome.
was it. But yeah, for sure. That thing that you said, what'd you say? Cameras down cookout.
Yeah,
I like
or
that.
just a creative cookout. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know, but just something to kind of, because we all
You
relate.
know somebody's gonna be in there trying to make content all day.
Yeah, which is true. And I mean, I myself, if I threw the event, if I hosted the event, I would probably, ask someone or pick someone up on the side, like, yo, but I want them to be the only person trying to create it. And yeah, I just think it'd be a cool opportunity for because we can all relate on a work basis and kind of what we're trying to do. But if we can come together with work aside and just, connect as human beings, I think that can develop so many more ideas than trying to force yourself within a situation that already has the creative blanket over it. Like, I don't want anyone to come in with the expectations of, the goal of this meetup is to, finalize plans and meet models and set up photo shoots. And no,
it's not a networking event. It's
come hang out,
friendship, fellowship.
Yeah, that's it.
What I mean, and before you said that, I was like, damn. I was like, what it ought to be is just don't bring your fucking cameras. You can bring your cell phone, and everybody, if you want to shoot a little video, decide everybody, make sure it's landscape or vertical, however you want to do it. You just pick a format and everybody stick to that, and then just at the end of it, Dropbox all that shit to me, and then I'll go home and take all your videos and all your stuff, and it'll be a piece of everybody, and then I'll make a big piece of content out of that.
Yeah,
upload it on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen those videos where it's like, I mean, the only ones that I've seen, I think it's funny, is like, so say a wedding night, it'll be the entire party, and they're like, my name's Kyle.
Yeah, like the confessionals.
This is me before the wedding, or this is me one drink in, or this is my first drink of the day, or whatever. And then fast forward to the end of the night or whatever, this is me after the wedding, and they're plastered and they're sweating and they're heavy, but they're happy, and like they just got this mix of emotions. If I had an event like that to kind of avoid bringing cameras into the workspace, I think it'd be, or into the networking, into the event, I think it'd be cool to set up like a phone on a tripod. Yeah. Introduce yourself as you're walking in. My name is, for me, I'm Nate Sauer. I'm a photographer. This is me before the creative cookout. Right. And then boom, they go in. I don't want you touching the camera. I don't want you thinking about camera for the rest of the evening, whatever it is. And then whenever you leave, everyone comes by that same camera.
See how their demeanor changed.
Yeah, this is me after the, and then just a quick testimonial on how the event was.
I think that's a really killer idea. And
just not even something to put out to promote or to try and
just for us.
Make it a trend. Yeah, just something to put out and just show the uplift that can provide.
And I would be cool, like I would be happy with just doing that. Like I would film it, all of that stuff, and be a part of it and do all that, and then go put it together and edit everything and and then just put it in a Dropbox and send everybody the link, and they can just do whatever the fuck they want to with it. Yeah. And never, like, I would never even think about posting it. I mean,
which that could be a cool idea too, because then it takes the pressure off of like just one individual to develop a product, and then everyone just kind of has free material to do whatever with. Right. And that free material comes from maybe one or two people that I don't want to call it a sacrifice, because it's like I'm not trying to get someone to sacrifice their time. Hey. But like, if one or two people wanted to volunteer to collect, material for it, they can do so without the pressure of like having to turn it into a product. That pressure goes on everyone
I don't
else
give a fuck what it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't care what it sounds like. I don't care if you use your phone, if you use a Nokia brick. I don't give a fuck. Whatever you do is that's fine with me. That's probably the goal. I mean, of course, getting people like us to not want to do stuff like create is fucking difficult. Yeah. Because everybody there is going to be like, damn it, I should have brought my camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe I would just let it be like almost like an open door policy or open camera policy. Like, you don't have to, but I mean,
you're not required. You're not expected to do this.
Yeah. If you want to bring it, cool, whatever. But I'm not necessarily going to have, it's not going to be like.
Not like that.
Kind of, yeah. Which, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And I would just keep the vibe light, keep some music going. I kind of have an idea in mind of the DJ I want to use. I don't know if he's going to see this or if he ever will, but if he does, he probably knows exactly who I'm talking about. Just know it's coming wherever you may see this. But yeah, I mean that's a pretty. I mean it's still a pretty broad idea. I don't have anything locked in for that.
I think it's a good idea. I think what we do can be very. It puts us kind of like on an island. It kind of makes us silos because there's one camera. We are the man behind the camera. Everybody has their own individual style and the work that they perform and all of these things. And it's all, very individual. And everybody is kind of like just silos. It's just we're all on our own.
That's true.
And so. Having a real community of people, not trying to we're not trying to one up each other. We're not trying to, network with each other. Like, hey, what can I get from this person? That kind of thing. We're not doing that. We're just literally hanging out, having fun, meeting other people that we know are interested in the same things we're interested in.
Yeah.
And that's it. Does the conversation always have to be about this? No, it can be about whatever. It's just a hang. There's no expectations. And I think that that's a problem with a lot of creatives. We're on these little silos and we don't feel like there's really much of a community.
Yeah.
And I know that there's places out there that try to make that happen. They want to make a community, but it always ends up being a networking thing and, what can I get from this person? What can I get or what can they get from me or whatever, I mean, it's just a weird thing that I fell out of love with. I was super happy and, about it a couple, maybe a year ago or whatever, but it started to lose its luster with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not to say that it didn't have, that is not still constructive. That is not.
No, it had value.
Those kind of events definitely still have value. But like my event more so would be what it eliminates is the preliminary expectations. Like if you call an event a networking event, automatically people who are going are going to assume they're there to meet people for either business purposes, project purposes, whatever. I just want people to hang out.
Right.
And then if something develops from that, cool. At least it came from something that was like, it would be considered extremely organic because you weren't forced to walk in the door with the mindset of, I'm here to meet a model, I'm here to meet another photographer because I need a second shooter, like whatever it is.
If it happens, and I can see where it might happen, where if you have people from both sides of the camera, they're like, we're all out there and we're all socializing. Of course, people are going to fucking network. It's what we do. It's in our blood. We can't help it. But yeah, that without the added pressure of that, it would definitely. I'm already excited. I hope you pull it off. If you need help, I'll help.
Okay.
My girl can cook she can cook up a storm, bro. I mean, we don't worry about no catering or none of that bullshit, But definitely like a potluck thing, where everybody bring a plate or a dish or something like that. But how often are you wanting to do something like this type of event, like a yearly thing, or
I don't know. I don't know how frequent I'd have it, if anything. I mean,
probably hard to get us all together more than once a year.
No, absolutely. And any event like that would probably in order to line up or give people the time to fix schedules, to be able to come for that, it would probably take, I don't know, 2 or 3 months of promotion before it actually happened, like before the set date.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I think you pick a date
and just commit
and
to
a time.
Yeah.
And just commit to it. And if you go out there and it's like, it's just me and you, maybe another photographer or, one other person, who cares? We just have fun and we just chill out and we just shoot the shit, whatever. And, let it be known that we showed up and we'll make our little content and we'll post it and say, look how much fucking fun we had.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do it again next year, and then do it again next year. Same time, same bat channel. And they know what time it is. They know how in advance, and you can give them. You can make a little video, post it, whatever. You can, make a flyer and post it, whatever you want to do. It's just always been easier for me than to go into some kind of graphics thing and fucking Photoshop and make a fucking flyer. I'm just like, I'll just talk. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'll just talk about it. I'll get on camera and say, this is what we're doing. This is when we're doing it. Show up or don't. I don't care. But that's just my opinion. Do it that way and don't get discouraged if nobody shows up.
Yeah.
That's always been my biggest, like with you saying you get that imposter syndrome. I've had situations where I've tried to do photo walks. I've tried to do events where it's like I offered up during the pandemic. Ooh, I said the word. During that time, I know there were a lot of high school kids that weren't graduating.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I offered free grad photos.
Oh, that's awesome.
For anybody in the greater Jacksonville area and anyone else that wanted to drive to where I was going, and I gave them the location. I made every week, I was making like 1 to 2 videos per week about what I'm doing, when it's going to be, whatever. And so I had all this content that I was uploading to my YouTube channel, to my Instagram, to my Facebook, to Twitter, anywhere I could post it. Yeah, I was uploading this shit. You know how many people showed up? None. Not a motherfucking one. I had a bunch of people message me and they all filled out. I mean, I had a time slot for everybody because I was literally giving them like 15 minutes per, because I was like, we're going to do a couple of poses and then head out.
Right.
I'll get your email address, and I was planning on taking like a picture with them and then just like handwriting on the picture like what their email address was so I could remember, because I'm a fucking idiot, and I'll forget. But I did a fucking Christmas shoot, a Santa Claus shoot, and there was over fucking 500 people that I shot that in 2 days.
Oh my god!
And I had so many people mixed up. So that was like, this is the way I'm gonna do it now. But yeah, and I had it all ready to go, and everybody filled out all the time slots, and none of them showed up.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of tough to wonder why.
Well, I was told by someone who was, a longtime professional photographer. They said, look, I know what you're doing, and I appreciate what you're doing. And just the thought of it alone is a great thought.
Yeah, the intentions behind it are pure.
But you have to charge something. He's like, what you're offering, normally they would do that in a school setting or whatever, or they would be sent to like Olin Mills or whatever, and they would spend $350 on it, if not more, because you're really just paying for, because they don't do more than like 5 poses, for that. So they're like, you get 5 poses for $350. You're paying for the prints, dude. I can get a 8x10 for like 80 cents. What the fuck are you talking about? So he was like, well, cool, just give them the digitals, charge them $25 to sign up, but when people pay for something, they tend to,
yeah, because the money kind of creates a little bit of accountability, right? Like no one wants to spend the money and then not show up. It's just wasted money.
Correct.
So I can understand that,
right?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me to think about, like, I mean, maybe it's like people were suspicious about it, or maybe they didn't know you.
I don't know, maybe.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, but you're talking about, like, I spent hours messaging back and forth with all these people. Yeah. Hours. And I was like, here's my Instagram, here's my Facebook, here's I get all this information. I gave them everything. I'm like, I'm not a fucking creep. I'm actually a photographer. You can go, here's my website.
Yeah.
And everybody was down, but I don't know. But that's just one of those things that I was talking about. It kind of does, it ends up giving you this, imposter syndrome. Like, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
Obviously they didn't really like my work. I mean, I started all these thoughts, this negative self-talk started rolling into my brain.
Yeah.
And I did exactly what you did. I stopped posting everywhere. I took a lot of that, all that. I took all those videos I posted. I took them all down, and deleted as much of that as possible. But it was just like, it was a shot in the gut. I was just like, fuck. But then you realize, hey, this isn't me. This is them.
Right.
You know, they had an opportunity for something great and they didn't choose to do it. So it wasn't anything that I did.
Yeah.
And you have to, tell yourself that and regroup.
Yeah. That self-awareness, being able to like identify that, that's not a consequence of, you being who you are.
Right.
Like, that's not, it's just, because like you said, the negative self-talk, I'm the worst
It's bad.
at that. And like I was telling you, like I spend a lot of time in my head.
Don't do it.
And when that stuff's negative, it can get pretty hard to fight some of that stuff off.
It is.
But I think on the flip side of that, like I also have a lot of pride when it comes to like knowing what my intentions are and knowing that my intentions are pure and knowing that in a world that can be pretty messy, especially like now and just times that are going on, like in the back of my mind, it's like I'm always gonna know that I'm doing something legit, like
right.
I'm doing something with some real intention. But it can be hard, in a world that has a lot of shallow tendencies to kind of pound that and get that across as as real
and
like,
rise above that.
Yeah, to get someone to believe you. And
yeah.
So I mean, I don't. That's a tough little
dude
subject.
It is. It's the hardest thing is, and like there's all the memes like I'm a photographer. I didn't realize I'm gonna have to be a content creator too.
Yeah.
I mean those types of things. That makes me depressed.
Yeah.
Seeing that kind of shit depresses the fuck out of me.
Because it's like, it's like there's a lot of starving artists out there, and most of that comes from work that they have to do to stay present, to stay, on the front lines of the exposure and everything, and they end up signing up for a lot of extra work that they never signed up for in the first place. So I've seen those things
just to
too.
pay them bills.
And I think I made a post too, or I did something where I think it's a reel. I think I have a reel on my page talking about I just wanted to be a photographer, and now I'm a marketing I'm a marketing agent. I'm an accountant. I'm a copywriter. Like whatever it is that I said. I mean, it's just, and a lot of
I like those little reels you were doing too. Those were kind of cool.
I was trying to keep up with that.
It's hard.
That was something I wanted to do like on a daily basis, but it just got to the point where, I mean, honestly. And it goes back to overthinking, right? It goes back to imposter syndrome or the anxiousness that can come with anticipation. Like most of those reels are shot on my iPhone on a tripod, but I would overcomplicate it, and it would take me 2 or 3 hours just to produce it and get it out on a platform. And coming home from work at 3 o'clock, I spend 2 or 3 hours on a reel. All of a sudden, it's 6, 7, 8 o'clock. I have zero time left in the day almost.
Yeah.
And then it's like I couldn't do that. That's not sustainable.
No.
So then I tried to take it to a point of like setting up just committing a whole day to it, just shooting, and then editing.
Make a bunch of them.
Yeah, and then editing after the fact. But then you get into the whole like the pre-work of having a content focused day is like, okay, well now I got to brainstorm. I got to come up with a shot list. Now I got to do all this. And then I would spend all my time doing that and then get stuck in like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't come up with ideas now. Like,
dude, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. It's tough.
It's creepy,
tough.
Man, how they got us hooked. Cuz one of the things I think about a lot is like there's a lot of people just want to make money on being content creators, which fine. That's fine. You can do that. If you can do it, do it. I worry about this country's infrastructure, like the roads being fixed, plumbing, houses being built. I feel like a lot less people are interested in the blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
Because ever since the invention of like the internet,
remote work.
There's remote work, but ever since then, we started seeing that there's no guards at the gate. Like it used to be television. Everything, if you wanted to be famous, you had to be on TV or in a movie.
I see what you're saying.
Now you can do your own thing.
So like TV, there was a central access point.
Right.
You had to enter the world of that space through television.
Exactly.
You had to be an actor, you had to be a producer, camera operator, whatever it was. But now it's like anyone can be anything.
Anyone.
So yeah, I can see how that can be a little dangerous.
You've seen people on YouTube become Mr. Beast, fucking what's his name? oh God, there's some other of these guys.
I bet people like that are going to have a documentary one day.
Maybe
just like how that works.
I mean, they maybe already do. I don't know.
Because I think about that all the time. It's like obviously like and it goes back to what I said earlier. There's a lot of groundwork. Like there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into that kind of stuff. But it's just crazy, like the level they make it to, and then it just turns into like such an easy looking lifestyle. Which, granted, I know it isn't. Like, because I know everything that it probably takes to produce the content that those guys put out. Because I do some of it myself. Granted, it's at a lower level. It's not nearly as high quality or high tier. And by that time, once they get to that size, they have full scale production teams.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy to look. Like, dude just picked up a camera one day and now, started talking to it, and now he's living insanely.
That's
like, it's just
like one of the first guys I found when I was getting back into the digital realm, or back into photography inside the digital realm was, of course, a lot of people find Peter McKinnon first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he was probably one of the first people I found.
Yeah,
too.
And if you look back, and he'll talk about it, but I mean that's exactly what he did. Jared Polin, he's been making videos since he was like 19 or maybe younger actually, and he would literally just take a camera and put it up, and he would just talk in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's got a full scale production. Peter's got a as far as I know, what he shows is it's just him and his producer. But he's got an editor. He's got a full-time editor.
Did you see his most recent, I forget what he called it.
The bucket shot?
I've seen that one.
He made a second one.
That one's crazy. Yeah, I've seen that one too. Did you see his Red Bull, I forget what he called the shot.
With the F-18s or whatever?
It was two like freestyle airplanes. And they took a photo with the eclipse.
I think
they had the airplanes fly.
Oh yeah.
With the eclipse right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that video, and it's just mind blowing because I wouldn't even know how to start planning that video.
Yeah.
Like the script writing that goes into that, the shot. I can't imagine what the shot list was for that.
Yeah, you can't.
And it kind of makes me curious. Like I wonder how much of that stuff is just, hey, let's just hit the record button and figure it out afterwards.
Right.
Versus, hey, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah.
This is the time we're doing it. This is the angle I need.
Right.
This is what you need to say. This is
I'd be
how
worried
you need
about
to say it.
less worried about the video, and be more worried about getting the actual the photo that I wanted to get.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
if he's so focused on that photo, he's got to have a production team.
He's got to.
And then like.
At least somebody holding the camera.
Yeah, and I want to step into video work as well. Like I'm actually working on a huge. No, I shouldn't say huge. It's huge to me because it's a lot.
Everything we do is huge.
It's the most amount of material, or I guess content, like clips, footage that I've had to turn into a video. Granted, it's probably going to end up being like a 2, 3, maybe 4 minute video.
Yeah.
But I've got hours of planning that went into this video, hours of shot listing, script writing, like kind of having somewhat of a general idea, and I'm trying to put it all together, and it seems like I can only edit or work on it for like 15-20 minutes at a time before I get to a point where I'm like, well, I have all this footage, but I don't know what to plug in next.
Rage quit.
So then I see stuff like Peter's video,
yeah,
and it's just like the planning that goes behind it. If I could just develop that skill, because that's the biggest thing about I know how to plan a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to be inspired and then search for a location and then find the model and then find all the material for the mood board to give to the model so that they can show up with an idea of what we're doing. I know how to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
But video is like an entire different world. You've got script writing.
Yeah.
You've got the shot list that you have to fully establish prior to shooting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to execute each single clip exactly how you want to execute it. And then afterwards, it's like just the order in which the shots are shot. Like a lot of his voiceover.
How you're going to edit it.
Yeah, and a reality TV blows my mind too, because it's like they shoot the reality portion and then they set the interviews afterwards.
Right.
And they know how to ask questions in a certain way that the responses will be able to tie into the footage that they shot earlier.
Right.
And it's mind blowing to me, like how that gets organized.
Well, like a lot of my shit that I, like when I do these little vlogs or whatever, it's just I just sit down in front of a camera and start talking. Like when I did this one, like I literally I'm not going to play it, but okay, that's great. It just decided to choose the Keurig spot, but I went on vacation And I was like, this was my, I went on vacation by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And my whole life, it was like the first time I ever did that. My whole life, you take the family, you go for a vacation with everybody. Everybody goes together. Let's all have fun.
How'd you feel about that? Like,
dude, that was the best
it's awesome
thing I had ever done for myself. And my girlfriend made me do it. She's like, you need to go on a vacation. I was like, well, where are we going? She goes, no, bitch, you. And I said, all right. So I was like, fuck it. And I found a little Airbnb in South Carolina. And it was like a little, what do they call it? Tiny home.
Villa?
It was a tiny home.
Oh, okay.
But it was like literally tucked into a mountain somewhere. It was like in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And the stars were crazy, bro. Then this night sky was insane. Weaverville?
I don't know.
Maybe? I don't remember exactly.
What state?
It was in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
I don't know exactly where it was, but yeah, it was dope, man. I mean, you're by sorry about the dogs.
Oh yeah.
You're by yourself, so it's not like, when you have your people around, like I can't do that shit really when they're here, when the kids are here. I feel awkward about filming myself.
Yeah.
But when I'm by myself, dude, I mean, I'm out in the woods. I mean, I went on a walk, a hike, and I was taking shots and
yeah. Because you can shoot knowing that you don't have to use it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So there's no pressure.
None. And so I'm just walking, and I'm just whatever came into my brain, I was just saying it on my camera. And I was literally just using I had this cage, and, I think I had my little Rode microphone on the top of it, plugged in. And so that's how I got the audio. But, and I just had my phone, and that was it, and that's what I used. And, when I got back, I didn't know what I had. So I got back that evening to the Airbnb, and instead of watching a movie or whatever, which is what I do here, I'm like, why am I going to do the same shit here or on vacation in this beautiful place that I do at home?
Yeah.
So I didn't even I didn't even know if they had a TV in that place. I don't even think I slept. I was only there for like 3 days. But as soon as I got done the first day and the second day, I just shot from the moment I woke up. And I just sat back down on my laptop and I just started editing. And I was like, move this here and cut, move this here, move this here. And I came up with, it's like 11 minutes, total.
Yeah. And,
it was fun. I had so much fun. And when I look back, that's probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And so I think a lot of what you are fighting against is yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You just need to all
the time.
Just let that turd go, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
Just let it go.
I mean, you describing that sounds very familiar. I mean, I didn't take the trip solo, but I mean, I have a vlog as well. And it was me and Gene and James. I met them through Facebook, through a photography group on Facebook. And the photo walk that you guys described earlier, that's kind of how I started with them. That's how I met them. We just all decided to meet up one day, and we walked around downtown late at night, and we did like some long exposure photography.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I started in it. And, one day we just decided to take a trip up to Providence Canyon. Is in Georgia. I don't know. Somewhere up there. And I kind of, looking back at the video, I cringe at the quality of it.
Yeah.
But like the genuineness, like the, what do they call it? Like when it brings back the nostalgia that it brings back, like watching that video.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just like the impact that video has on me versus like the quality or anything, like and succeeds.
You can go back and look at it. It brings back all those feelings.
Yeah. Which that's what you just said there is exactly what I was trying to say earlier about every single photo shoot's a story. And like by the end of my life, whatever it may be, like I'm planning to have thousands and thousands and thousands of stories from all these pictures that I took that I'm going to be able to share with, my kids, friends, family, whatever it may be, and then pass down, hopefully through those stories, pass down inspiration, not necessarily to pick up the camera, but just to pursue something you're passionate about.
100%.
So,
yeah, man. It's a blessing and a curse. This field that we've chosen to be in. I mean, and really, I've gone from hobbyist to, getting paid. So I guess, the definition of a professional is whenever you get paid on a job, you're now a professional. So I guess I'm a pro, whatever. But you never really feel like you are, unless you're like, my thing was always like, if I could quit my job, I'm a pro, but yeah, I've never had the ball sack to actually do it, to just, I've come close a couple of times.
Yeah.
But you just like, I don't know, man. And you start making every fucking excuse in the book, know? And that's something like, my friend Andy, I don't know if you follow Andy Varnes.
Yep. Yeah. I'm actually, I met him for the first time. I mean, I've known of his Instagram and everything for a while.
Yeah.
But I met him at, Beachside High School. I don't know who they were playing, but Beachside, it was a high school football game. He came out there to shoot some photos and video.
He's crushing it.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, I mean, but he came in and talked to me, and I was so happy that he did. And but and I told him what I was getting ready to tell you is that, like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. I get, I had this feeling where I was like, when I start getting paid for gigs, I start losing the love.
Yeah.
Like you feel like some of the creativity gets drained out of you.
Yeah.
And
because the freedom turns to pressure.
Yeah. But he told me something that was really important that day. He's like, look, man, you make all the excuses you want to, but if that's what you want to do, you just, you have to do it. And once you do it, you'll see, and you take the jobs that suck. You take the job, you just pay the bills.
Yeah.
But once you do, you take the jobs that suck so you can do the things that you want to do.
Right. And that's where, like, loving the process hugely, like, contributes hugely to however long you can do it or sustain something. Like, you have to truly you can't love the result. You have to love the process.
Right.
Like, and I think that's been instilled in me since I was little. Like, I played sports and stuff, and everyone talks about practice makes perfect, and you have to love the practice before you can love winning the game.
Right.
Kind of thing. So yeah, and then loving the process. I mean, granted, it probably sounds like I almost have a panic attack before every photo shoot, but like the planning stages and the eagerness to put something together that I don't think many people have seen before, and just combine ideas. I read a book a while back. I don't know who wrote it, but it's called Steal Like an Artist.
Okay.
And it's a quick little easy read too. That's the cool part about it. But it talks about how everything that can possibly be done in the world has been done.
Of course.
There's zero originality existing anymore.
No, it's all parallel thinking at this point.
So to be an artist, you can't be an artist that claims ideas. I mean, you can come up with ideas, but you have to put a twist on them, and you have to connect them with other ideas to kind of convert it into a product that, maybe someone hasn't done before. But that doesn't make it original. It just means that you've combined it in ways that people haven't before.
So that's something I try to tell people also, like that you take what someone else does and you use it as an outline for what you want to do. So like this podcast, normally I'm over there across from you and we both have the red background, and I've got a producer sitting here and he looks stuff up on the internet, when I need to find out stuff.
While you're in the middle of it.
I mean, sure, this is sounding a lot like another podcast that is really, really popular right now, the JRE. So I took his format, the way it looks. I like the two cameras and, having the producer off to the side. I like all of the way he does, like the video format. And I took that, the way it looks and the way it sounds and all that shit, and I took it and I'm like, I'm going to apply it to what I do. So I interview people that I want to interview, but it's, it's always, for me, it's always like some type of creative, so that's not necessarily what he does. I'm not trying to be like him. I'm not trying to have the exact show as him, but I'm taking that show that he does and using it as a basis for like what I do.
Yeah. You're stealing his idea, but then making it your own.
Making it my own.
That's all that book talks about. That book is awesome.
Right.
I read it. We had to stand, I had to stand like an overnight watch where we weren't allowed to have our phone. And I read that entire book in one night. And it was like, There's
another book that, I think you should probably read if you haven't. It's a short read. It's not difficult to get through, but it's The War of Art.
I think I have it. I haven't read it yet.
Read
but
that shit.
I definitely have it on my shelf.
Read that shit.
Okay, I bet.
It's going to help you. I need to reread it, but I loaned it to someone, and I probably won't get it back. I'll probably just buy another copy. But I think it's Stephen Pressfield, I think, who wrote that. But at any rate, that's a good book. It talks about resistance, and for everybody, resistance is different for everybody, whatever that may be. For me, my resistance is being afraid that I'm going to be successful.
Okay, so what part of that is fear? Like, what part of that is fear, though? That's interesting to hear.
So the fear for me is the resistance for me is that
to be able to replicate it.
Is it going to be sustainable?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't. It's basically like everything we just talked about, all that imposter syndrome that you talked about, everything that we think of on a daily basis that I'm not good enough, or thinking those thoughts, it keeps me from promoting myself.
Yeah.
And really pushing my photography to the next level. It keeps me from doing all of that. Or it keeps me from, not that I've put down the photography. Like I said, I'm still doing work, but I've really focused more on this, on the podcast. So I had to make a decision. I didn't have to, but I did make a decision that, like, this is where my focus is going to be moving forward.
Yeah.
Because a podcast, something of this magnitude that I'm doing, is not something that you can just jump in and just take lightly. It's a real commitment.
Yeah.
Lining up guests, trying to be, entertaining a little bit when you're sitting here talking, not sounding like a dumb fuck while I'm talking. Like it really is like it's a skill. And it's a skill set that I've learned over the years of doing those types of things for myself, and then doing this with people. It really is something that I've had to build my chops over the years. Patrick said, read War is a Racket.
War is a Racket.
Which I've heard is a good book too, but I'm not sure how that correlates with what we're talking about. No, but I think there's 3 books in that series. It's I don't know what all 3 of them are. I know that there's The War of Art, and then there's Doing the Work, and then the third one I can't recall. I owned all 3 of them at one point. It's been so long since I've read them, but
gotcha.
But those are some good books to really kind of put things into perspective. And it's a short book.
Okay.
Like I said, and each page is like, it's almost like a haiku.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some actual chapters that you have to read, but it literally took me like a couple hours. I read through it,
Yeah.
But when you think about that resistance, man, it is, whatever that is for you, once you identify what that is, these motherfuckers are having a damn conversation in our chat room.
Oh, who is it?
Brett from Time Place and Patrick.
Oh.
They're like talking to each other. You little fuckers.
You try to steal the show.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
But whenever you identify what the problem, and this has always been my like thought process going through life in general, is like if I'm depressed about something or something is troubling me, you find out what the root cause is.
Right.
Once you find out what the root cause is, then you can work, like it's like almost like you're working backwards from there.
You reverse engineer it.
Yeah. And then you can say, okay, well, what caused that? And okay, what caused that to happen? Because everything's like a chain reaction inside your brain. And once you've identify it, you can kind of start to stomp it out.
Right.
And it's so yeah, man. I mean, read the book, don't read a book. I don't know. Books are great.
I've got it. I'm gonna read it.
Motivations are great.
When I took my little break, I definitely turned into
little bookworm.
Yeah, a little book nerd. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly hate reading. Like my attention span.
Audiobooks
is but well than that is like I feel like I'll zone out while I'm listening. I'll do I'll perform other tasks while I'm trying to listen to an audiobook, and then I just zone out and I don't listen to any of it. But no, books have been dope. I've got a solid collection on my shelf, and whenever I took my break, I was reading like a book a week. I mean, not huge books, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not a speed reader, but
No, I'm slow fucking reader. I'll be honest with everybody.
yeah.
I have that like a touch of that ADHD. I think I almost have to be doing something.
Okay. To kind of be able to focus.
Pay attention, to focus. I can be doing something that's very important, and I will not be thinking about what I'm doing. I'll just be listening.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I'll be listening to books on, not really tape, but audiobooks, while I'm at work or whatever. And it's a very physical, I'm moving all the time, doing things, but I'm not even thinking about what I'm doing because I've been doing it for so long. It's like, fuck, I don't even think about it.
I can see that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, audiobooks are good in that way, but well, good, man. I'm really excited to see what's, next for you.
Yeah, me too.
Hopefully, hopefully we see more of you because, I don't give a fuck whether it's, you just send me shit, dude. You don't have to post it, or post it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Do whatever it is you desire to do, man.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best,
Thank you.
And I hope that, dude, I'm just going to tell you, like you give me that imposter syndrome, like that compare and contrast bullshit.
Oh,
like
man,
I look at your work, I look at your work and I'm like, damn, this kid's, and it's not even just the quality of the work. The quality of the work is great, but it's not just that. It's how creative you are with your work. And I'm like, damn it, man.
That means a lot, really.
I'm like, fuck, I could be doing that,
I mean, you saying that is like, everyone deserves their flowers. And as someone who spends a lot of time kind of by themselves or not, in a lot of social settings or, fellowship, kind of like we were talking about earlier. And I posted something on my threads. Let me read it. I want to read it.
Read it up.
Put this out.
Thank you, Amanda. Or Jada. She said, I love hearing the passion.
It says, when you hear someone say something good about an artist, go tell that artist. You'd be surprised how impactful and encouraging it is for artists out there to learn that someone is talking about their work in a positive way.
Dude. Hell
like
yeah.
That can, someone who retired their craft for 2, 3, 5, however many years, if they get, a little hint that someone likes their work or what they do, like that can spark, crazy ambition and crazy motivation.
Yeah.
And being able to celebrate yourself and being able to celebrate the things that you've done thus far is a huge part of being able to sustain any kind of future and whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to slow down and kind of reminisce and take that pause to kind of learn, how to be proud of yourself. So
100%, man. And I mean, it's a big thing for me for you to say that you're like, that was a big thing for you because I'm nobody. I ain't nobody.
Not at all, man.
I'm just a dude, standing in front of another dude, playing a dude, another dude. No, but I mean, like I said, if I can help you in any way, I mean, whether it's just complimenting your work or, I don't know, whatever. If you want me to film some shit, I'll film some shit, whatever. I mean, I'm always down to help. I like being creative. I love doing that. I do like being creative with other creatives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I say that with the disclaimer because people watching this might go, "Oh, really? Well, I'm a creative," but projects that I choose.
Yeah, no.
So
that's
you
huge.
have to put that disclaimer in.
Yeah, and that goes back to talking about the free work we did earlier. I mean,
right.
I've made it past the point of doing favors, like
right.
free work favors. I mean, I still do free work. Don't get me wrong.
If it's something that sparks an interest,
but it's got to align.
Yes.
Like I've got to have full freedom. I've got to have full creative control. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want anyone telling me how to do something or what and what way to do it,
nope.
Unless you're compensating in some other way on
right.
the back end.
Yeah, if you start hitting me for revisions and can you re-edit this and that and
yeah.
I love all my brides, but I shot photos and video at a wedding, which was very difficult.
That's great. I don't recommend that. I tried to do video and photo at an event one time, and
don't unless you put like a GoPro on a gimbal and mount it to your head or something so it's stable. I don't suggest it at all. But I mean, like it worked out with what I was the wedding that we were doing, but when I turned the video in, when I delivered the video, it was like, oh, this is so great. But Can you?
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do, is ask a creative to split their attention between two creative pursuits.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right.
Like, I tried it once, maybe twice, and then ever since then I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Well, it was just, for me, it was all the edits and re-edits.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, look, I did a lot for what you paid. I did a lot.
Yeah.
More than most people would.
Yeah.
And, the only thing that made it better was she started hitting my Cash App. I was like,
oh, yeah.
I got you, girl.
Yeah, I'll keep going. What do you need next?
Well,
I'll change something else.
That's also in the contract.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Edits cost this much,
Yeah.
So, and you can find those contracts online. You just Google it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them
are ChatGPT now. I bet you can just
probably, but
a
lot of them are already made and they're PDF files.
Okay.
So you can just download the PDF and then you can go into your computer and edit it however you want.
Personalize it to
and then you can either print it up or you can send it over. Lock it and then send it over as a PDF file.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do they can sign it. E-sign, whatever. Do all that shit. I like to do that in person and have them sign it, so I have proof, that they understand all my terms and conditions. But so that's why I say, man, I could send that stuff to you that I have, or you can just Google it, But do you know who Amanda Hall is?
Yes.
Okay, she called you Nathaniel.
Uh-oh.
Or Nathan. She said, "Love hearing the passion. Can't wait to see what Nathan has in store." The mindset, the passion goes along with creativity, with all
Appreciate
creativity.
That. Yeah, no, absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a good friend or relative.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, hell, man. You got anything else for me?
Not really. I mean, just a thanks to you. Thanks for letting me come out here.
Hey, man, you got an open invite. Anytime you want to come out and shoot the shit, we can chop it up. If it doesn't. I always throw this out there, but it doesn't have to be this. If you've got anything that coming up, like if put your camera down, cookout. You want to do that? You want to talk about it on here? Hit me up. We'll talk about it. It don't matter. But anytime. If you just want to bullshit, we can roll, or we don't have to podcast. We can just hang out.
Yeah. No, I got you.
I always have to turn shit, and that's what I was saying. You get those people in that cookout, they're gonna be turning it into content.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I have when me and Barry, God darn, my stuttering just came out. When Barry and I were doing that walk. By the end of it, we were both going, damn, we should have recorded all this. Because it was deep, and people probably have never heard that side of us.
Yeah.
But at any rate, man, I thank you for coming out here and hanging out with me. And, bro, like I said, much love. Yeah. I love what you're doing, and don't stop, because some bullshit happened.
Yeah.
Let it slide off your back. And just keep creating, man.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
Appreciate that.
Hell yeah, man. And you guys, the audio, I'm about 5 episodes behind on the audio uploads. So if you want to listen to it, or if you're listening to it now, I've gotten caught up, obviously. But obviously, this is the place to find it on my YouTube channel. And we thank you for watching live, and we thank you for all of your views and likes and shares and comments and all those things. And we will see you. Not mañana. That's tomorrow. I don't know what next week is in Spanish, but we'll see you next week on Friday. Bye. I'll sit here and do it.